Hello friends, this is our sixth day and today we are going to learn recursion. So let's discuss what is recursion. Recursion involves the situation in which a function calls itself. So wherever you find in a program that a function is calling itself, the situation is known as recursion. I want to show it with a diagram. For example, you consider this block as a function. This is a function and the name of this function is a. It starts executing from this point and somewhere from this block itself it's calling itself. If this is the situation, this situation is called as recursion. But you need to be very careful. Why? Because your program's beginning point is this, starting point is this, then it will keep calling itself. So what will happen? Your program will never terminate. That's why it must have a well-defined base case. What is base case? Base case is the condition in which a function stops calling itself. So it should have a base case. For example, this is the case. If something, there is a case, and whenever this case executes, your program terminates. So your program's beginning point is this, then it keeps calling itself, and somewhere this base case will be called and your program will terminate. That will be the correct way. And now you have the base case in recursion. You must have well-defined steps that lead to the stopping state. So it should not happen that every time you wrote a program and that program leads to the function call. But there is no path that leads to stopping state. So in your program you should make a path from which it can go to stopping state also, and only then your program will terminate. I hope you understand the recursion. Recursion is nothing but when a function calls itself, this situation is called recursion, and there should be a base case so that your program can terminate properly. We have this example from mathematics. You must have seen this kind of formulas in mathematics. What does this formula is saying? This is saying that the value of fx is x plus f x minus 1. In which case, if x is greater than 1. So you can see this is fx and this is fx minus 1. That means if you want to calculate fx, you must first calculate fx minus 1. And in order to calculate fx minus 1, you need to call this formula only. And you can see that there is a base case also. If x equal to 1, there is a condition, this is the base case in which the function is not calling itself. So if x equal to 1, then the value of fx will be x only. For example, if you want to calculate the value of f3, then what will be the value of f3? The value of x is 3. So what will happen? If x is greater than 1, is x greater than 1? Yes, the value of x is 3. So there is no 3 is, that means 3 is greater than 1. So this will be the value of f3. What will be the value? X plus fx minus 1. And what is the value of x? It's 3. So 3 plus x minus 1 means 2 will be the value of f3. But now you can't calculate f3 without calculating f2. So we need to calculate f2 first. And what will be the value of f2? So now x is 2. So 2 plus f2 minus 1 because x is greater than 1. So 2 plus f1 will be the value of f2. In order to calculate f2, you need to calculate f1 first. And what will be the value of f1? Now the value of x is 1 and the base case says if x equal to 1. Now x is 1. That's why the value of f1 will be x, that means 1. Now we have calculated f1, we can calculate the value of f2. What will be the value of f2? It will be 1 will come here, that means 3. So the value of f2 is 3. And what is the value of f3? It is 6. This is how you can calculate a recursive function. You have seen this kind of functions in mathematics. So whenever a function calls itself, this kind of call is called recursive call. And if we see how many recursive calls are there, see, this was not a recursive call. Why? Because we want to calculate it. And when we want to calculate f3, it from inside this function, this calculates this called function. So this is a recursive call and this is a recursive call. There are only two recursive calls in this function. And if I say how many calls to the recursive function, so fx is a recursive function. So there are 1, 2 and 3 calls to the recursive functions, but there are only two recursive calls in this mathematical function. This is the base case. Why? Because from this base case, function is not calling itself. And if you have learned arithmetic progressions in mathematics, then you can see that this function is calculating arithmetic progression. So f3 should be 3 plus 2 plus 1. That is what is calling 3 plus 2 plus 1. 6. That's what it's calculating. Now we know that this formula is to calculate AP, arithmetic progression. So we can write this formula in programming terms also, and this is the programming term. If you have understood this formula, then it will be very easy for you to understand this. Whenever you find a recursive situation, first make a mathematical formula. Then simply write this formula in programming terms. So here, how I am writing it? The name of the function is AP. I named it AP. And I am passing a value in it. See, one value is passing. I am passing an integer type variable number. So argument of AP is a number. And it will calculate number plus number minus 1 plus number minus 2 up to 1. So whatever will be the result, it will return that result, and that result will be an integer value. The body of the function starts at here and ends here. And in the body, what do we need to write? We have this base case. So let's write the base case first. If number equal to 1, you know that this is an equality operator and it checks the equality between both operand, but this is not equality operator. But doesn't matter. Why? Because we wrote in mathematics like this, but here we need to use equality operator. If number equal to 1, what should be the output? Number. That's why I am returning number from this equation. There are only two cases, and from here I have wrote a return number. That's why I do not need to write this condition. So, and what's the condition? X plus fx minus 1. So here you can see number plus f means what? The name of the function AP, bracket number minus 1, x minus 1, that means number minus 1. After calculating, what I am doing? I am putting the numbers, I am putting this value inside number itself. And at the end, what I will do? I will return number. This is how this function can be implemented in a programming language. Let's see how will this work. Will this work equally? Let's hand execute this program to get an overall picture of the things. You know that we have a RAM, and inside RAM all the things, all the variables will be stored. This is our RAM. You need to understand it very carefully. Suppose we want to calculate AP3. AP3. We want to calculate AP3 is equal to. So as we called AP3, the value of number will become 3, and somewhere inside the memory location, the variable number is set to 3. Okay. Now the control flow will reach at this line. If number equal to 1, is number equal to 1? No, number is not equal to 1. So what it will do? It will go to the second line. Number equal to, that means this number equal to okay, number plus, that means 3 plus AP number minus 1, number is 3, so 2. So can I write it here? So AP3 is 3 plus AP2. And you can see that compiler can't calculate the value of this number until it calculates AP number minus 1, AP2. In order to calculate AP2, it needs to call this function itself. It is actually calling itself. Now what will happen? 2 is passed to number. Now what will happen? Will this number will overwrite? No. Why? Because I told you yesterday, in yesterday's class I told you that whenever you call a function, the variable of that functions are local. And here what we are doing, we are making a second call. So what will happen? Although this is the same function, but compiler will assign a separate memory space to this function call because it's a separate function call. So previous function call will remain in the memory, and in the second call it will again assign a memory location to variable number. So let us say this is the second call. What will happen? The number will become 2. So this is separate number and this is separate number. That's why they are not overwriting. Now what will happen? Again it will control flow will come to this line. If number equal to 1, is number equal to 1? No, number is not equal to 1. That's why control flow will come to this line, and again it want to calculate number. So what will be the value of number this time? Number, that means 2, plus AP and number minus 1, that means 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So can I write the value of AP2 here? It is 2 plus AP1. Got it? Now it's calling AP1. See, it's calling AP1. In order to calculate the value of this number, you need to calculate AP1. So the function is called again. And one more instance of this variable is created somewhere randomly in the memory. For example, this is the location where the number is assigned. What is the value of number this time? It's 1. So number will become 1, and it will go inside it and check if number is equal to 1. Is number equal to 1? This time yes, the value of number is equal to 1. So what it will do? It will return number. It will not go to this line, it will simply return number. And what's the value of 1? So 1 will be returned. Where? So first of all I would like to write this. AP1 is, what's the value of AP1 is? 1. And 1 will be returned to AP1 from where it was called. So what will come at AP1? 1 will come at the place of AP1. Now we are able to calculate the value of this number. It's becoming 2 plus 1, that means 3. And now because this value is calculated, it will again return where, from where it was called. It was called from AP2. So the value 3 will return at AP2. So 2 plus 1 is 3, and this 3 is returning at this place. So AP2 is now become 3. So this 3 is returned at this place. And finally we are able to calculate the value of this number, and that has become 3 plus 3, that is 6. And now it will return number where, from where you called AP3. So this 6 will be returned to here, and we can do whatever we want to do with this. We can now either use this in program, or we can simply print this function in computer screen. So can you calculate how many times AP function is called? Yes. First it calls from here, then second call, then third call. It's called 3 times. And how many returns statement has been made? First return, second return, and finally this will also return to this. So 3 returns are made. You can see from here also. 1 return, second return, and third return. 3 returns are made. And if I say how many recursive calls are made, so what is recursive call? A recursive call happens from inside function only. So this is the recursive call that happens from here. So 1 and 2. There are only 2 recursive calls, but there are 3 return calls. Now you know almost everything about recursion. And these are the questions that you may need to answer. How many calls have been made to recursive function? You know we have made 3 calls. So it depends on the parameter, what parameter you are passing. If I pass number equal to 5, then there must be 5 recursive calls. How many returns have been made from recursive function? So inside recursive function, 1, 2 and 3 returns are made. And identify base case from a given program. You can obviously identify the base case. If mathematical equation is written, this is the base case. Why? Because from here it's not calling itself. And in program you can see this is the base case. Why? Because from here it's not calling itself. So why don't we solve the problem ourselves? Let's solve that AP problem first. So I am starting CodeBlocks compiler. I am starting a new file. I am creating a new empty file, and I am saving this file with the name ap.c, arithmeticprogression.c. Let's write a program. Include stdio.h int main return 0. What I am going to do, I want to calculate AP5 and print it. Now I need to write this AP function. So let's write it before main. We know that AP function will return an integer type value. The name of the function is AP and it's asking for an integer parameter. What's the base case? If number is equal to 1, then return the number itself. Otherwise, number is equal to number plus AP of number minus 1. And finally return the number. This is arithmetic progression. Let's compile this program. You can see it's showing no errors and I can run it. What does it printing? It's printing 15. Why? Because 5 plus 4 is 9. Plus 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 1, 15. So AP of 5 is 15. Now because we have written a program, it's very easy for us to calculate the AP of any number. And you know the AP of 10 is 55. So if I'll compile this program and run it, you can see 55 is printing on computer screen. I don't think that I need to explain this program again. I've already explained this function to you. So whenever you find such a situation where you want to do something repeatedly or you want to call the function, this kind of situation is known as recursion. Let's see some of those kind of situations. So here, these are the situation in which you may want to call the function itself. For example, this is factorial n. You all know about factorial. Let's see how we can calculate factorial. What is factorial? If I want to calculate factorial of 5, what I need to calculate? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Can I write this thing as factorial 4? That means if I want to calculate factorial 5, that is 5 into factorial 4. And you can see what it is doing, it's calling itself with a different parameter. And what will be our formula? So if I want to calculate factorial x, that means x multiplied by factorial of x minus 1. That will be the formula. But you can see there is no base case, there should be a base case, and that base case should be if x is equal to 1. If I write 0, what will happen? It will multiply with the 0 and the result will be 0. So 1 will be the base case. In case of 1, the output should be 1 only. So this is the mathematical formula, and for you now it's very easy to implement it on a computer program. The same way, if I want to calculate power, let's say 5 to the power 4. Okay, in mathematics I can write it like this. Can I write it like this? 5 multiplied by 5 to the power 3. Is it? What does it mean? It means that if I want to calculate 5 to the power 4, that means 5 multiplied by 5 to the power 3. So it comes with that represent of mathematical formula that says that if you want to calculate f(x) to the power y, then it will be equal to x multiplied by f x comma y minus 1. And I can calculate it up to 5 to the power 0 also. Why? Because 5 to the power 0 is equal to 1. So base case will be y is equal to 0 or 1 also. Why? Because if multiplication of 1 will not impact anything. So if I say 5 into 1, 5 to the power 1, that means 5. So it will have the same result. So this is the mathematical formula, and I hope now you can implement it. I think this is enough in recursion. And you will be able to solve the problems with the recursion only if you start implementing, only if you keep practicing it. Otherwise, you will never be able to implement the recursion. This is the graphical representation of recursion. So can you tell me which one is the correct graphical representation? For example, if this is a function, it's calling itself. From the shape, you can see that this function is calling itself. So it's calling, it's calling, it's calling, and finally it's returning something. That's why this is correct recursive representation. The same way here, calling itself, calling, calling, and returning. This is also correct. This is calling, 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 and returning, returning. It is also correct. But here, this is calling it and this is calling it. There is no return back. That's why this is an incorrect graphical representation of recursion. This is the end of the workshop. And I hope you like this workshop very much. If you want to learn something in computer science, you can email me at yogendra.pal3@gmail.com. Thank you very much.